And good evening and welcome to the Sports Show. Maxie has the night off. Eric Nelson in for Mike. Patrick Royce, Lou Nanne, and the legendary Sid Hartman. Sid, Anthony Barr, you were spot on. You said that's who the Vikings were going to take. But Teddy Bridgewater, I didn't hear that one predicted.
No. I heard a lot of talk about that Barr last year when Spielman went out and scouted him. He was raving about the guy. Very few guys started out as running backs in colleges, and then all of a sudden he's not playing hardly, so he has to become a linebacker. So that was their number one need defensively, and they were in love with that guy. He was the number one guy, except that guy that Texas got. But we'll see how he does. They're still short a linebacker. How good this draft is, I don't know. I mean, Bud Grant used to say they have to play 3 years before you know how good they are. But they're going to have to play some guys before 3 years, I'll tell you that.
Well, Patrick, one thing we know.
Well, they don't let them in the salary cap era wait 3 years anymore, though. They want them to play right away, even the quarterbacks almost, the high-drafted quarterbacks. So.
But where's Barr going to play, Patrick? I mean, he can put his hand on the ground, rush off the edge, linebacker. Where do you think he fits
Sounds like
in?
he's a linebacker. I don't know. He's not a real physical guy yet, so they're going to have to strengthen him up a little bit. The scouts said he was fine when he got a clear shot at the quarterback, but if he got some big, tough left tackle in front of him, he didn't do much. So he's got to get a lot better. It's very interesting. They basically drafted nothing but projects this draft. So.
7 of their 10 players from the defensive side of the ball. So Mike Zimmer obviously had a big voice in the room. But Louis, NFL draft, it eclipses the NBA playoffs, the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's amazing how big it's become.
Well, football is that big. That's why. You just look at the dollars that they take in, look at the product all year long. There's so many fantasy pools. It gets everybody involved, even people who never used to watch football. But I'm going to be really watching to see how Manziel does, because I think that's the biggest question in the whole draft. Is Manziel going to be a player? And if he's going to be a player, then, you know, the Vikings, I don't know. I'm not in football. If it was me, and I liked Manziel, I would have taken Manziel 8 and worked to get up to Barr, because I think you could have got Barr, or I think Manziel might have been their first choice at quarterback. If he wasn't, then fine. Then you go with Bridgewater. Maybe Bridgewater's going to make it, but I hate to pass electrifying players if they're good.
Well, he's in Cleveland. We'll see how it plays out. But Sid, I would think that Zimmer can coach up Barr and North Turner can coach up Bridgewater. Do you agree?
I think Barr will play right away and do a good job. I talked to several general managers, and that's where you get the idea what team is talking. That's how I got that thing right, because they weren't going to trade that pick. They were going to try and get him. They thought they could get him, and he'll play right away because they don't have anybody else. The quarterback is a project, and he won't play much this year. I still think Ponder's got a chance to be a quarterback, and so does North Turner. And we'll see what happens.
But don't you think you let the 3 compete for the job? I don't think Christian Ponder's in the mix, but don't you take the Seattle philosophy, Patrick, and say best man wins? That's what they did with Matt Flynn and Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I think Wilson was a special character here. He was such a great athlete. This guy's not an athlete. This guy's slower than. I mean, Ponder's a much better athlete than Teddy Bridgewater. It's reading defenses and throwing the ball and handling the blitz that we'll see. But he's slow. He's got small hands. He's not as big as Ponder. So the measurables aren't as good as Ponder. But maybe the innate ability to play quarterback is. The instinct to play quarterback is probably Ponder's.
Or the ability to find other receivers.
Yeah,
and that's been Ponder's biggest problem.
Well, and Louis, you've drafted many hockey players in your day. I mean, the NFL has these pro days, these combines. Do we weight those things too much? Because Teddy Bridgewater's stock dropped when he had the bad pro day.
Well, we never used to have a pro day, so that was good. We liked to see what they did in the games,
right.
And then we went by that. You know, I used to say I got a cousin who was faster than hell. He could just skate like the wind, but if you open up the end boards, he'd end up at the steel practice. I couldn't think. So I don't know how good the pro days are. I mean, they got to be good for these guys.
It wasn't all.
It shows them speed and all that.
It wasn't all pro day though. It was the way he played down the stretch. He faded as the year progressed.
Bridgewater.
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It wasn't all the pro day. It was, you know, maybe when the year started, people envisioned him as a top 5, but they didn't by the time the season was over.
Well, Charlie Strong is one of the best coaches in football, and I had a 15-minute conversation with him, and I've known Charlie Strong for a long time. He doesn't BS me. He says this kid ain't ready today, but he has all the potential in the world. And he says the one thing about this kid, he won't give up. He'll work his head off. Right away, he got an apartment here. He's going to stay here right till training camp opens, work with the coaches, and he's a future. But Charlie Strong's had a lot of great quarterbacks in Notre Dame and other places, and he thinks this guy got a chance to be a good one.
Well, he certainly played well in college, and he played well in the games. That's what's good. That's what I like better than the pro day, the fact that he really performed in the games.
Well, and Friday night he was at the Wild Blackhawks game. They had him on the Jumbotron with Cordero Patterson, so I think Sid's right. He's planting his roots quickly here in Minnesota. But you got to be happy. Rashid Hageman goes to Atlanta from the Gophers. Brock Vereen to Chicago. So finally the U of M getting some guys drafted.
I think they made a bad mistake not finding a way to get Vereen. Because talking to some of the Big Ten scouts that come to some of the games, they Gopher games, they just thought he was as good a corner as it was in the whole league. As far as Hageman and the kid from the Cretan, they both have had their problems. You don't know what they're going to do. He tested, what's the name for Cretan?
Seantrell Henderson.
Yeah.
He tested positive for marijuana. He got kicked off the team 2-3 times, and Hageman had his problems too.
Yeah, Hageman didn't have nearly the public problems Henderson did, though. He didn't flunk drug tests to our knowledge.
Hageman graduated. So stick around, more to come, the sports show.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. Soundpoint Audiology. Life is worth hearing. And Cuisine Concepts. Franklin Street Bakery at 11th and Franklin in South Minneapolis, just down from Mall of America Field. And Taste of the NFL. Proud to be the premier Super Bowl party with a purpose to support hunger relief locally and nationally.
Quality. It's the result of shared values. The joy found in an honest day's work. Respect for true American craftsmanship and the need, not the want, to get things right. It's the result of remembering your roots, being forever humbled by how far you've traveled and forever hungry to push on further. Quality is a result. Quality is who we are. Cambria. Family owned, American made.
Blasting away tough calcium, lime, and rust buildup doesn't have to mean harsh fumes. CLR makes cleaning cleaner. It's safe enough to carry the EPA Designed for the Environment label, yet it has a powerful cleaning formula that you can trust to dissolve tough calcium and lime deposits and surface rust stains quickly and easily. Watch as CLR gets rid of dingy rust from stain tubs so they shine like new. No rubbing, no scrubbing. Don't replace that clogged shower head. CLR quickly dissolves away that crusty white buildup so water flows freely for better, cleaner showers. Just a swish of safe, effective CLR in your coffee pot and watch nasty hard water stains disappear. Your pot sparkles and coffee even tastes better. Pour a half cup of fast-acting, powerful CLR in your dishwasher or washing machine to help them clean better and run smoother. For tough calcium and lime deposits and rust stains, reach for safe, effective CLR. We make cleaning cleaner.
Tackle your toughest jobs with the power of CLR. Available at these fine stores. Or log on to CLRbrands.com to learn more.
Hi, Jan. Welcome to the Toyota Time sales event.
We're looking for something safe with a really smooth ride. He's a very light sleeper.
Oh, the Camry's safe and has a smooth, comfortable ride.
Oh, the Camry's perfect.
And you're in luck. It's Toyota Time, so it's a great time for a great deal.
Yes! During Toyota Time, get an amazing 0% APR financing on a stylish new 2014.5 Camry. Or lease a Camry for just $199 a month for 24 months. Toyota, let's go places.
Audi A4 drivers have spoken. And they rank the A4 highest in total quality index in its class. Experience the new Audi A4 at your local dealer today.
Looking for a nice, big, juicy rack of ribs?
Fabulous chops, huge steaks, and the Buddy Bowl? Then J.D. Hoyt's is the place for you. Hoyt's opened in 1983, and Mike Andrews and his partner John White have kept this Minnesota tradition at the top of the food chain. Managing owner Pat Montague gives us a tour.
At J.D. Hoyt's, enjoy a relaxed atmosphere, great food, friendly service, private dining room, second-to-none happy hour, just blocks from the new ballpark.
Located at 394 in North Washington. Locally owned, nationally known. Hoyt's.
Locally owned, nationally known, J.D. Hoyt's on Washington Avenue in Minneapolis. You may see Patrick there, Sid, even Lou Nanne. Welcome back. Sports Show, Eric in for Maxie tonight. All right, the Minnesota Wild, wow, they have really taken the hockey world by storm. I think not only in Minnesota, Sid, but nationally, the way they're competing with the reigning Stanley Cup champion Chicago Blackhawks.
Well, you got to give that Chuck general manager a lot of credit to bring in all those young players who made a big difference. I would say, not being a hockey expert, this is the biggest game in the history of the franchise, because somehow if they can beat him in Chicago, I think they can beat him here, and then they move right up.
How about what's with Nino? Where'd this come from? He's a monster.
This is no surprise.
Well, it is a surprise from the way he played down the stretch of the regular season.
No,
he
played. No, I disagree with you.
He didn't have any production.
That's you are a victim of who you're playing with, and he's playing with fourth line checkers.
Okay.
That's what you're going to get. And this kid has played sensationally all year long. That's what. I read this stuff and I hear this stuff and I say, what are people watching all year long? This kid's been a top player all year long, control the boards.
Then why the hell did we have him on the fourth line?
Because he's adaptable to go everywhere else, and he doesn't complain about it. He's happy to do it. I agree with you. I wouldn't put him on the fourth line all year long. I think this kid's a hell of a player. You look at his history, everywhere he's played, he's been a top player.
Okay.
No, neither Raider.
Okay, here's my deep hockey strategy here.
Louis can't.
Last year, Quenneville said if we stop Koivu and Parise, we're fine. I think they came in with the same strategy. You see the Blackhawks on the bench looking at each other when Holla and Niederreiter and those guys are out there. They're like, where the hell did this come from? They're, I think you've caught them off balance here with the with how good those kids are.
Well, I think Leo's done a terrific job of mixing his lines, mixing personnel, and things aren't going right in the game. He really grew up as a coach when Parise and Koivu had injuries, and then he had to start doing some things that he wasn't doing before. And I think he got a lot of confidence in doing that. And from that time on, from that 6-game losing streak where it looked like people were clamoring for his job, he's really become a heck of a coach. I think he's
must have
done
a good
great.
staff too.
He's got a great staff. And
Mason.
and Fletcher's got a great staff. With Brent Flair, Jim Nill, those guys like that are candidates to go other places as head guys.
Bob Mason got to be a heck of a goaltending coach.
Well, he's always done
have
it.
4 goaltenders. He's got to be a hero working with those guys. I would think the pressure is on the Blackhawks. They can't afford it.
Oh, it is on the Blackhawks,
But is it fair to say, Louis, that with Howla, Granlund, Niederreiter, these young guys, it's kind of crystallizing at the right time? And we know Parise and Suter and Molson and Pominville are great players, but it all seems to be arcing at the right time.
It is, and because these guys are getting confidence, they're being shown confidence, they're playing a lot. If you go back and look at the history of the young guys, you take Granlund this year. He was on the All-Star team in the Olympics. There was only 6 guys. He was one of the 6. Nobody else from we had what 8 players in that tournament or 6. Nobody else made it from our team. You look at Niederreiter last year World Championship. He made the All-Star team. He was the 3rd leading scorer with Switzerland. So when you look at the talent they got some talented kids, and Hollis come up and been sensational. Fontaine, whenever he gets in there, I don't like to see him out of there too much.
He can fly
He can
too.
fly,
I didn't
and he
know
puts a puck in
skated that
the net.
well.
And he's had, he had a great minor league year with Houston last year. I mean, they got some skill back there where people weren't paying attention to. And so it's been good for the Wild.
Heatley has helped him a little too.
He's come on. You're right. He's come on. He's played his best hockey of the year in the playoffs.
And the blue liners, the defenders are making it so Brizgala, in my opinion, doesn't have to stand on his head. He's just doing what he has to do to win.
Well, Brizgala took a lot of heat for nothing. Until that soft goal the other night, he hadn't let in a bad goal against Chicago. Had he been in the nets for New York when Lundqvist let those 2 in against Pittsburgh, lost 2-0, they'd have been stringing Brizgala off just because they pick on this guy. This guy's giving him good goaltending. But quietly, Scandella has been great, and he's been very good all year, and Stoner's really come of age. Spurgeon's been a good player, and he's elevated his game, but Stoner has really come of age.
How hurt is Suter?
I think he's really hurt. I think he's just playing because he'll play through pain.
30 minutes.
Yeah, because I don't think he can shoot the puck or handle the puck as well as he could before. I'm sure that shoulder is bothering him, and
so
I bet he's got to separate.
So he's a warrior.
He is.
Kind of like the Twins' first baseman, huh?
Without that goaltender, don't make any difference. They wouldn't be in where they are right now.
They've made it pretty easy on the goaltender.
Yeah. I mean, they've really given him.
Blackhawks score a lot of goals.
Blackhawks scored the most goals in the league.
But they're not getting a lot of opportunities.
The Blackhawks have had 20 shots or less. The defense has been a lot more important than the goalie, in my opinion.
Patrick, I'm glad you brought up the Twins, though. I mean, here's an owner, Craig Leopold, that did something we don't see a lot in Minnesota with that 4th of July fireworks explosion, signing Suter and Parisi a couple of years ago. It's paying off. I mean, Wild Nation's growing. I'm hearing people talk hockey that aren't hockey fans now. He's got to be the most committed owner in town, wouldn't you think, of the 4 majors?
Well, he had the big opportunity and he took it. So yeah. And now he's probably going to get a good defenseman in here for next year. So
well, people are just bypassing Vanek. They're forgetting one big thing. You got to have a guy like Vanek in here. The Wild scored 207 goals. Chicago scored 267. Okay. You still got to get to the playoffs. You got to score goals, and you're asking a lot to expect the Wild to play as good in the nets with all those different goaltenders and on defense as they did this year. They made it because their goals against was so good. Now, how do you know it's going to be that good again? You better be able to score goals in this league if you're going to want to.
You want Vanek over Niskanen?
Yes.
You do.
In a heartbeat.
Well, that's
right
what I
now.
say.
Yeah, your defense is not giving you problems right now.
No, they aren't.
But you're still looking to score goals to win games.
Okay.
We've had too many games where we have to score goals.
You've seen more hockey games than I have, Louis.
No, I just want a guy like Vanek. You know, he's got 3 goals, 3 assists in Montreal in the playoffs right now.
Is that fait accompli? Vanek going to be here? I mean, everybody's saying that.
No, he wants to be here. It's going to be up to the Wild and how many years he wants in the salary cap.
Yeah.
But he'll be able to fit under the cap because Heatley's going.
Now, are we going to get Sid out to Game 6 Tuesday night?
Pardon me?
We got to get you to St. Paul, Game 6 Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Sports show, stick around.
Attention, please get a pencil. Announcing a hearing breakthrough, a microchip that is so small it can fit on the head of a pen, worn hidden entirely in your ear canal, making you hear clear as a bell. And it's proudly made in the USA. Do you feel left out of conversations? Is it difficult to hear words in noisy environments? Do others say that you listen to the TV or radio too loudly? Do you feel like a bother to others due to your problems hearing? If you answered yes, you may qualify for this new chip in the ear. Only 50 participants are needed to try this microchip, so get a pencil. Call now to see if you qualify. This revolutionary chip actually mimics the natural sound selection of the human ear. With multi-core microprocessors, technology used in the most advanced computers, sounds are analyzed and classified each millisecond, controlling noise and making speech clear. Do not wait. Call now to see if you qualify to wear this revolutionary new microchip.
evidence that proves my dad's a space alien. He speaks a weird language. Drinks green stuff. He says he's from Albuquerque. I'm not buying it. I mean, just look at him. And one more thing. He has a spaceship. The evidence doesn't lie. My dad's an alien.
The highly advanced Audi A6, named to car and drivers 10 best. Experience exceptional value on the Audi A6 at your local dealer today.
They had to do it.
Audi in Minneapolis, 9393 Wayzata Boulevard. Give them a call, 763-744-9393. Audi in Minneapolis. Welcome back. Sports Show. Eric in for Maxie this week. I want to start with Lou Nanne, the former NHL general manager. Michael Sam drops to the 7th round yesterday in the NFL draft. There's speculation, because he's openly gay, that he was bypassed by all these teams before St. Louis gobbled him up. Would that ever come into a general manager's thinking?
Wouldn't come into mine, because I'm sure I've played with, I don't know that I have, I'm sure somebody might have been gay that I played with or played against. I used to tell my team, I don't care if you fall in love with the guy next to you or go out to dinner with him after, but during the game, just be a good teammate and work for him, and he should work for you. And so, in my mind, that's all should be taking place. And so, if he was skilled enough, and if I was a general manager, I wouldn't pass him.
I think the problem with, more than the fact that he's gay, is the fact that he ran the 40 like a offensive guard instead of a linebacker. He's slower than hell, and he's short, and you got to give him credit. He was a very productive player, the toughest conference in football, the
Defensive
SEC,
Player of the Year.
But the measurables are terrible on him.
Yeah.
He's slow and he's short.
Sid?
Here's the thing. I always remember sitting in for a few minutes with Jim Finks and Bud Grant. And Finks has got a list of these players. And they're all a bunch of has-beens from teams that are an expansion team. They've got all these dogs. And Finks would say, this guy's on marijuana, this guy's this guy's that. And Grant says, can they play? Yeah, I'll keep them.
Yeah.
It boils down to one thing. Gene Mock told me one day, we're sitting there, I said, you're a heck of a manager. He says, if I can steal 10 games a year, that's a miracle. If I don't have the players, it don't mean anything.
And what's the point?
Huh?
The point is, Sam, if he could play, would have been drafted higher? Yeah, the kid. Well, I agree with Sid.
Well, and
might have cost him a round, but I don't think it cost him.
No.
Louis right. There's been other gay players. We know that. He's the first one to come out and openly admit it. And that, what's going to be a bigger circus, though? Michael Sam, whose first game will be against the Vikings, by the way, if he makes the team, or Johnny Manziel? What's going to cause more of a stir?
Well, they cheer the guys. When they come out, they give them the greatest press and compliment them and all that kind of stuff. It's no longer a factor. It was a time when that wouldn't work that way. Years ago, that wouldn't work that way. But now it's a different world. And let's talk a little Twins baseball. How about that?
Patrick, we going to see much of Joe Mauer?
Well, the biggest upset of the weekend was not the Wild beating the Blackhawks. It was the Twins beating Verlander.
Yeah.
Although Hughes eats up the Tigers.
Yeah, he was okay.
How about them? You got to give Terry Ryan some credit. I mean,
I don't. I don't like the team. I don't like them at all, hardly. But
they got no outfield. That's the thing. They got that Escobar playing outfield. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah.
You and I could go out there and play as well as he can.
Not me.
He lost him a game the other day.
I said they got one major issue. 80% of the time, 70% of the time, they're playing a team that's better than them. You can't beat those odds, Louis. If you're playing a team that's better than you, 70% of the time, you're lucky if you only lose 60% of your games.
This week, they see the World Series champion Red Sox at Target Field. So.
Well, I think they were hoping the pitching was going to be better. It is better, but maybe they were hoping it was going to be even better than that. But
Hughes has come around. He's 4-0. Gibson had a bad outing the other day.
But he looks good.
He's pitched pretty good.
Yeah.
Their pitching staff has been decent. I don't know. I think they're going to be a lot better than last year.
Buxton hurt his wrist again. The two phenoms are Sano's out for the whole year, and Buxton hurt his wrist sliding in head first to third base. They should start fining these idiots for sliding head first.
So that means no Sano and maybe no Buxton in the Futures game. All-Star
there
weekend.
Won't be, Buxton won't make it now.
That's
probably
too bad.
He's having an MRI.
All right. Sports Show, stick around.
If you guys could go on a free shopping spree anywhere, where would you go?
I'd go to the grocery store. Pizza, ice cream.
I'd go shop for clothes.
You know where I go? I'd go to Ticket King. Ticket King!
At Ticket King, you can buy great seats for the Vikings,
Christian Ponder,
the Wild,
Zach Parise,
the Timberwolves,
Ricky Rubio,
and of course the Twins.
We love the Twins.
Yep, this is where I go. Vikings, Twins, Wild, Timberwolves, Gophers, theater, and concerts too.
Justin Bieber! Hey, I like him first.
For details, go to ticketkingonline.com. Any ticket, anytime, anywhere. It's the real thing.
It's Ticket King.
Right, Dad?
Couldn't have said it any better myself.
That's for sure.
I'm Michelle Tafoya, and once again, Taste of the NFL was the hottest ticket at the Super Bowl. Thank you for joining us as we came together to deliver a successful Taste of the NFL at the Super Bowl. The money we raised means a lot. For every $1, 8 meals are provided. Thank you, Brooklyn, and thank you all for joining us at our annual Party with a Purpose, the Taste of the NFL, where food, football, and fun take a bite out of hunger in America.
Yes, thanks to our local sponsors here on the Sports Show as we wrap it up. Taste of the NFL run by our good friend Wayne Kostrowski. Sid, you had Flip Saunders on WCCO earlier today. You want him to coach the Wolves, don't you?
Well, I think he's going to coach. So he wants to coach, and I'm sure he can talk Taylor into it. I don't think there's any problem at all. It boils down to this. From what I talked to he's in love with Saunders. And I think their best chance to keep Love is if Saunders is coach. And for that reason, I think Saunders will be coach. Furthermore, there was never a chance of Izzo taking the job. There never was a chance of Hoiberg taking the job. A guy like George Karl, he told me he wanted no part of it. You're going to have a hard time getting a big-time coach with this team.
Well, I would give you my opinion of Glenn Taylor allowing Flip to be the coach, but Glenn Taylor's going to buy the Star Tribune, and my contract has to be renewed. So I'm not saying a word about it.
The first time we've ever seen you muzzled.
Whatever you decide, Glenn, I think I'm sure it'll be a fine
He's been muzzled. Louis, but do they need a big name coach?
I would not allow it. I think if Glenn Taylor allows that, he's making a mistake. If Flip wants a coach, and get somebody else in to run the team.
It's hard to wear two hats.
And I don't go along with what Sid says, that Love's in love with Flip Saunders. I'm sure he likes him, but I'm sure he likes where he wants to go better if he wants to leave here and the money better. That's not going to make the difference for Love staying here. I can guarantee you that.
Quickly, should they look at Mark Jackson?
Kevin Garnett, player coach. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. What about Mark Jackson? 51 wins in Golden State. Mark Jackson. Should they look at him?
He couldn't get along with he could cause a riot and none
Maybe they need that here.
Well, I disagree with you.
Yeah, that's right.
Because there's a very good relationship there.
To be continued. Sports Show. Thanks for watching.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quart surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. Soundpoint Audiology. Life is worth hearing. And Cuisine Concepts. Franklin Street Bakery at 11th and Franklin in South Minneapolis, just down from Mall of America Field. And Taste of the NFL. Proud to be the premier Super Bowl party with a purpose to support hunger relief locally and nationally.